Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be making a cute Japanese doll. So now that you've seen all the materials that we need, let's move on to making all the tubes. So for the head and the body, you're gonna make this long tube. Okay, you're gonna cast on with the white yarn and make 27 rows. Switch to the pink yarn, make 32 rows, then switch to the teal or aqua yarn and make 7 rows. Change again to the pink one and make another 32 rows, and go back to the white one and make another 27 rows. Okay, so it's gonna be a long tube. All right, so that's the head and the body. All right, next tube that we're gonna make is for the hair. I'm gonna use a blue yarn for the hair. You can choose to use black or whatever color you want, okay? But for the blue, dark blue, or maybe royal blue yarn, we're gonna make 50 rows. Simple as that. All right, and then no waste yarn. We're not going to use any waste yarn for this project. And then we're going to have 2 buns for the head, 1 on each side. And I want you to make 2 of these tubes, and they're 20 rows each. All right, 2 tubes of 20 rows each with the royal blue yarn. For the arms, you're going to use the white yarn, and you're going to make 2 of 18 rows each. Okay, and all of this, by the way, is made by only 22 pin circular knitting machine. Okay, all right, and then for the sleeves, you're going to use 2 colors, the pink and the teal. So you're going to cast on with the pink yarn and make, let's see what I wrote here, 12 rows, and then switch to your teal yarn and make 6 rows, and then switch again to your pink yarn and make another 12 rows, okay? All right, don't forget, you're going to make 2 of these. All right. Okay, so what you're gonna do here, you need to use a yarn needle, which I think I have. So you're gonna cinch one end of the tube and close it by sewing, just like when you do your beanies. Okay, you close one end of the tube, and then you're gonna insert this end of the tube inside the tube. Too much tube. Now, as you can see, I cannot hide this. I messed up with the tension on this part, but that's okay, because this is the part that goes inside the tube, and you're not gonna be able to see that. It's not gonna be exposed. Okay, so just simply close this end. May need to focus here a little bit. with your yarn needle and your yarn tail. No specific way of doing this, as long as you can close this end and secure it. Okay, now we're gonna insert this end inside this tube. Let's also put the needle in there because we're gonna use it. It's a little long, so I have to insert my hand through the tube as well, just to get to the other end. So pull the close end to the other end and just align both ends. Oh, and one thing I forgot, since we made a lot of color changes here, I want you to make sure that before you do everything that we did, just to make sure that you tie up the yarn tail ends where you change the yarn color. I'll show you on the next one, okay? All right. So pull this end, the one that you just closed, and just align it with this end, okay? Make sure it's aligned here by inserting my hand inside the tube. Okay. All right. Now, what you're gonna do is cinch this other end, okay, for it to completely align with the other end. And now you have 2 yarn tails. And what I want you to do is just tie them together, maybe a couple of knots. Just to make sure that the inside layer of the tube doesn't just move around, okay? Especially after you put the stuffing on. Oopsie, what did I do here? Let me just remove this. Okay, so we're just gonna tie with a couple of knots. That's 1 and 2. Oop, that didn't do right. Oh no, I messed it up. What happened here? There we go. Okay. All right, so we tied it up. Okay, so now it's closed and the other end is open. Okay. Now you want to make sure that this end, at the bottom of this other end, on the edges, you only want to show the teal end of the teal part of the tube. You don't want to expose this one, okay? Because this would be the bottom of the dress. Okie dokie. Now, let me just stretch this out a little bit. Make sure we have enough space for the stuffing. So the white part, that's gonna be your head, okay? And then the pink part is gonna be your body. So what you're gonna do now is put the stuffing on. Actually, before you do that, let me hide one of this yarn tail. Actually, we'll hide both, okay? So let's hide them both. And just to make sure that this end is securely closed, we'll use the other yarn tail to sew it a little bit more. I'm gonna try to type in the number of rows on the video so you can maybe screenshot it in case you forget. You can also save the video to watch later, or even download it, I believe. Okay, so let's hide this yarn. My dogs are asking for attention. Okay. Mommy's working. All right. So now we use the same yarn tail that we just cut. And we're going to make running stitches, okay? Make sure that the inside is flat and it's not, you know, bunching up on other sides. There you go. So what you're going to do, you're going to use this yarn and the needle to make running stitches around the tube along the border of the white and the pink yarn. Okay, there. Actually, you want to go over the white part, okay, and leave a tail there because we're going to tie this up later. And when you're making running stitches, also make sure that, oops, I pulled that too far. Sorry about that. I'm back. Okay, so we're making running stitches around the tube along the border of the white and pink area of the tube. I hope you can see this clearly on video. Okay. So the reason why we're doing this is because we're gonna cinch this part where we put the running stitches, and then we're gonna cinch this part after we stuff the head with polyfiber. Just keep going until you meet where you go back to where you started. All right. Okay. So before you cinch it, we're gonna stuff it with stuffing or polyfiber fill. Let me expand this a little bit. There you go. So the goal here is to make the head round and actually wider than the body. Let's try it if we could achieve that shape. I think. Just want to make sure that the stuffing is evenly distributed inside. I think we may have to add more. So be generous with your stuffing or your polyfiber. I've seen some work where you know, they needed the materials or the yarn well, but then they don't put enough stuffing and the plushie doesn't look good. There you go. Can you see it? So once you're satisfied with the shape or with the amount of stuffing you put in there, that's when you cinch the drawstring that you created with your running stitches, okay? So cinch it as much as you can. Tie a couple of knots. I want it to be tighter than this, so if cinching it or pulling the drawstrings doesn't pull it enough, you can always wrap your yarn around the neck area and tie a few more knots. There you go. Okay, so we were able to make the head. Okay, and tie it one more time. just to be sure. And then we're gonna hide all the yarn ends or yarn tail. Okay, where is my scissor? All right, right here. Oops, that's not the one I need to cut. This one. And let's hide this one too. And then we're gonna move on to the body. Uh-oh, why am I having trouble here? Okay, so let's just hide this part. Okay, and done. All right, so now we have a head. Okay, we can shape it some more later. Okay, we are going to put, instead of doing the drawstring, let's just put the stuffing into the body. Okay, again, try to be generous with your polyfiber, but at the same time, you don't want to overstretch your doll. Okay. You want to make the base wider than the top of the body, okay? Okay, so you want to be able to we're gonna need that space for the arms and the sleeves. Okay, all right, that looks good. So that's the shape you want to be able to achieve. Now if you notice the bottom, we're kind of losing the tail end, so you may want to pull that part out a little. Pushing the stuffing in can do that. We still want to see that end, a little bit of it, okay? Now remember that tube that we used, or we made, this one, the teal tube that we created. We're gonna use it for the base of the body. So what you're gonna do is cinch both ends. Let me set this aside for now. You cinch both ends. We're gonna close one end. Same way you did for the head earlier. Okay, once that closed, we're gonna flatten the tube like a pancake, where each end meets each other. Is that the right term? So each end are now together. They're both together now, okay? So you just wanna make sure that each end is closed. Like this side, it's already closed. You wanna do the same for the other side, okay? So cinch it. What I usually do is, again, tie both yarn tails together. Okay. All right, so now we can hide the remaining tails. And this is what we're gonna use to cover the base of the body. Do the same for the other tail. Now what you're gonna do, you get the doll back. Okay. So again, we already put enough stuffing for the body. So we're gonna, if you look at the base, it's gonna look like that. What you're gonna do is you're gonna use this to cover this end, okay? So the way to do that, we're just gonna sew it around the edges, okay, with our teal yarn. Okay, I just want to make sure you can see it. Okay, we're gonna hide this tail so it doesn't show. Just like that. And you're just gonna sew it around until you close the base, or until you get to where you started. Okay, so it's gonna look like that when you're done. All right, I'm gonna pause this and come back to you when I'm done sewing it all the way around. Okay guys, I'm getting close to the end of this of sewing this base. So this is the last stitch, so just lock your stitches and then hide your yarn tail. Okay, and then you can cut it. Okay, so this would be the base. Oh, hang on. That would be the base of your body. Okay, this is what we've done so far. Okay, and now it can stand on its own. All right. So to make the sleeves, what you need to do is just, oh sorry, not the sleeves, the arms. Cinch each end of the tube and sew the end of each tube. Make sure it's close. A couple of knots is enough. Just do the same to the other side. Oops, let's cinch it first. Okay, one more. Okay, now what we want to do now is roll it lengthwise like you're making a burrito. And you want to roll it as tight as you can so the arms are not so bulky, because we're working with a small doll. And then you're just gonna sew the edges together to shape your arm. Okay, so you can roll it tighter as you go to make it narrower. Oop. Okay, so do this until you get to the end. Almost there. this needle. Okay. And then just to lock your stitches, you can tie these two yarn tails together. Again, maybe a couple of knots would do. One more. And then we can hide this shorter yarn. We won't need it anymore. But we can keep the longer one on, so we can use it to sew the arm to the body later. Okay. I already made the other arm, so right here. Okay. Oops, there you go. All right. So to attach it to the body, so choose the side of the doll that you want to use. I think this is decent. All right, and position your arm to each side of the body, just directly below the head. And if you want, you can even maybe attach it temporarily with a needle or a pin, just so you could see if they are positioned evenly or correctly. Oops, I didn't do that right. Okay, that's one arm. Now you're only gonna sew it on this top edge, okay? Top end of the arm, because we're gonna need to slip on the what do you call it? The sleeves later on. I don't know what happened to my nice needle. I can't find it. I can't find it. Okay, so the other arm should be about right here. Yep. So this arm you can start sewing. Okay, so just turn your doll to the side and start sewing this end of the arm, the top end of the arm, to the body. I have to slide the doll back and forth to make sure I attach these arms correctly. Oopsie. I really don't like this needle. Okay, so just go back and forth and make sure that it's firmly attached, okay? And I'll show it to you when both arms are attached. Okay, so I've attached both arms and I've already attached the one sleeve, and I'll show you how to do that now, okay? Okay, to make the sleeves, so this is the tube that we created. What you're gonna do, without cinching the ends, you're gonna insert one end into the tube and then align the two ends together. Okay, see, we're trying to get these ends together. Okay, it's important that this tail end is showing on the edges. So now, coming from this end of the tube, you're going to insert the arm. So it'll be easier to just pull the arm into the sleeve. Okay, and then align it up to the shoulder. Position it up to the shoulder as much as you can, and you can start cinching to keep it in place. Ooh, still keeps sliding. There you go. Okay, so you're probably able to see it a little better now. Okay, so cinch it all the way so it won't slide off the shoulder. Then you're gonna use these two yarn tails to sew the sleeves into the shoulder. I lost my needle again, of course. Let's use this. Okay, just have it secure on the shoulder. Just go back and forward and back. And I'm sure it's not gonna slide because with the cinching that we made, I doubt that it would still slide. So lock your stitches in the back, on the back of the doll. Okay. And then there you go. And then if you prefer it to be like your arms to be positioned a little bit forward, you can do that too. Okay, now we're gonna work on the hair. For the first part of the hair, we're gonna make a beanie, a really tiny beanie. So close one end of the tube. Cinch it real well. And then let's close this end. Okay. Once you've closed it, you're gonna insert this closed end inside the tube. All right. And as you've seen earlier, I like inserting my needle through the center of the closed end and into the other side or other end, so I could tie the two yarn tails together. Okay, so once you feel like the closed end is aligned with the open end, you can now cinch the other end. Okay, so it's just like making a simple beanie. This is gonna be one part of the hair. Okay, so we can tie a couple of knots between the two yarn tails. Okay, and let's make sure we close this completely. Okay, that did it. Now we can hide our remaining yarn tails. Let's do the same for the other yarn tail. Maybe I'll lock it one more time and then hide the yarn, just to be sure. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna insert this on top of the doll's head. So this is the front of the head. You want to make sure that this bottom part of the head goes of the beanie goes all the way to the back of the head, bottom back of the head, okay? It's a little tight, so gotta really try hard. And hopefully we can get the look that we want for this baby doll. Oopsie. Okay, just like that. Make sure this is all the way down in the back, because that's supposed to be the hair. You probably lift it up a little bit more here. Okay, and then we can secure this hair by just making blind stitches around the edges all the way to the back, okay? Okie dokie. All right. Now we're gonna make the 2 buns that go on each side of the head, okay? So let's keep that there for now. So remember, we created 2 more tubes, 2 more blue tubes. We're gonna use this as the buns. Okay, now we're making the buns. Okay, we're gonna make 2. So what you're gonna do, cinch one end, close it, and then you're gonna flatten the tube like a pancake, or like you're making a beanie, a small beanie. Let's see which one is nicer. I think this one is nicer. Okay, insert your needle through the center from bottom to top. Okay, and then make sure that this is close. Okay, tie a couple of knots. Okie dokie. And just so you know, when I take this video, I'm making the as I take this video, I'm making these dolls or projects for the first time. I didn't practice for this or have made one before. So if I make a mistake, I will make sure that there's a big note on the description, or I will maybe like post a flashing note while watching the video to alert you of that mistake, okay? I try not to, or edit it as much as I can, but you know, no one's perfect. Okay, so let's hide all this yarn. Oh, let's hide that, sorry. And then okay, so that would be the top of the bun, okay? After hiding your yarn tails, and you know what, if I'm too slow for you or too fast, feel free to pause, rewind, forward, whatever you need. That's what's nice about YouTube. Okay, so once you're done hiding your yarn tails, turn over your work. You're gonna make running stitches around the edges. We're going to be making a drawstrings. And also, if you have questions about whatever project we're creating, feel free to leave a message on the comment section. Okay, we're almost there. Don't pull it yet though, okay? Because what we're gonna do is, see, we want it round. That's why I put a drawstrings on the edges. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little bit of stuffing before we attach it to, maybe we can pull it a little bit. There you go. To keep the stuffing in, but don't pull it too hard yet. There you go. That looks cute. Okay. Okie dokie. Now that you have the stuffing in, you can pull it a little bit more, but not so much that it would make the bun too flat, okay? So once you've achieved the desired shape, you can lock it by tying a couple of knots. Oops. Careful pulling your knots because you might end up closing the tube if you pull too hard. Okay, so that's one bun. Okay, but just to show you how I'm gonna attach it to the head, there. So it's gonna go on each side like that, like the doll has two buns, okay? So on top of the head, about 2 inches apart, okay? All right, so let me do the other one and I'll show you once I've attached both buns on each head. All right, guys, I've now finished the doll. I've attached the 2 buns. I've decided to add some strings of yarn tied around each bun. They're made of 6 strands each bun. Just a combination of the teal and the pink yarn. I've also attached the edges of the hair on the head all the way around up to the back. And then what else did I not show you? Oh, so I just decided to embroider the eyes and the mouth using the blue yarn and a darker pink yarn. You can use whatever color you want. And also, just to create that effect of her wearing a robe, I just embroidered a few stitches here, a Y shape stitch. I just used the back stitch to create this embroidery, and I used a double string of yarn. All right, so that's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next tutorial. Bye.